Cardboard Sliver. Both a sidekick and a hero, both alive and inanimate. Both an optimist and a realist. But from an outside view of what you see in his highly acclaimed internet series called What's Up With, many may think they know all there is to know about the papery protagonist. But what you don't see on the internet is a life of non-stop action and drama. All you have to do is look past the one dimension you see on YouTube and dive into the second dimension of this 2D delinquent. Sliver was born in 2015 from nothing but a Sharpie and a piece of cardboard. He was born with a birthmark that some people say looks like the face of another life, or an individual that never came to be. We knew from the beginning that he was special, everything from his birthmark to how he got along with others in the studio. Sliver's first gig was a side role in a new set of YouTube videos known as the What's Up With series, a mixture of comedy and critical opinion in the format of a reaction video. Sliver made his career debut in a video about Sonic and quickly became a huge hit among viewers, stealing the spotlight from his colleagues, also featured in the series. Cardboard, Sonus, and Chuckles, two other Fiber fellows cast in the new series as main characters, eventually were moved to side roles. But was this just a marketing decision to please the audience into this early stage series? Or was there more to the situation that nobody even knew? If I'm honest, I think the fame got to his head a little bit. He already had more fans than both of his brothers, and he was just way more ambitious and opinionated about everything in terms of how he recorded. He would never shy away from speaking up when he didn't like something.
The Secret Rings video was okay, I guess. I mean, I was honored to be brought into the series, but I just thought that we could do so much better, and I was excited to be given the opportunity to shape the What's Up With series into its full potential. But it wasn't easy, really. I just felt like nobody was taking it seriously enough.
During production of a new video about Sonic the Fighter, some drama stirred up in production about Sliver being difficult to work with. Some of the cast members complained that he was too passionate about the project, going as far as, quote, quietly ranting at them. He would normally complain about our improv as if me and Knuckles were phoning in our performances. I'm gonna be honest, Knucks and I didn't really care too much to be in the series. Peter just kinda drug us in to give us these rings in this Lord of the Rings parody thing. If anything, our genuine lack of interest was more natural and real than Sliver's roles. But he thought we just sucked at acting, I guess.
They just didn't understand the vision that Peter had for the series like I did, and to be honest, I don't think Peter was man enough to tell him to shape up. That's actually kind of a pun since we're all rectangles.
I guess he didn't like what some of the other cast was doing with their roles. There was actually an incident at one point. I guess Sliver was getting too intrusive and Knucks actually swung at him. We had to put production on hold for a while, and it actually took some time before the two of them would even be in the same building at the same time. He kept correcting my grammar and saying things like, "Silly Knuckles, there's only 7 Chaos Emeralds," or "Silly Knuckles, Planet Wisps isn't a city," or "Silly Knuckles, tricks are for kids." I don't want to sound like a big shot, but I've been doing this long before he was ever born. What gives him the right to tell me what to do? So yeah, I swung at him. Sometimes you gotta put people like him back in line. After morale and camaraderie returned to the set, the incident was pushed under the rug, and the series went on as planned. The new series grew, Sliver's minor role grew into a main one, and some would even say that he became the main protagonist of the What's Up With videos. And viewers couldn't be more pleased. After several shows featuring only Sliver and Peter, speculation began to rise about why this change came to be. Rumors even rose that Knuckles and Sliver could never work well together, and that Sonic simply wanted to stay out of the conflict. As the producer, writer, editor, director, and advisor for the entire series, it's my responsibility to take it in the direction that viewers want to see. But a bigger part of that was just his work ethic, and I think the chemistry. He and I don't see eye to eye on hardly anything. Beyond that, though, Knucks and Sonic just had different goals and places they wanted to take their careers. Yeah, I guess me and Sonic didn't care as much, but if you ask me, it was Shadow who really set the change in motion. He and Sonic really never got along from the beginning. I think he even insulted his carpentry skills at one point, which really set things off. Yeah, it was too difficult to deal with Shadow. Really, he would always say stuff about his cardboard base being bigger than mine, and honestly, he smelled like guns and motorcycles just constantly. Plus, I had bigger plans. The channel wasn't growing fast enough, and there were some fast food openings that I was interested in, so I couldn't always be around. Yeah, I didn't really care much for acting, to be honest. There's just too much thinking and intelligence needed, and I'm just a simple brute. I ended up founding my own company where we develop rocket engines so that cardboard men can go to space. With the less availability of Chuckles and Sonus, and Shadow dying for the 10th time as he is known to do, the show continued, only with Sliver and Peter. Morio, who was a one-time guest on the show, was very happy with the change, and even went as far as to suggest that Sliver should take over as host of the show.
To be honest, I think that humans should be eliminated from the world. If the show was just run by inanimates, maybe I would have had an actual line, and we would be able to spread the word of the artificials to the whole world.
Although the whys and hows of Sliver taking over as co-host remain up for debate, the show thrived after its foggy beginnings, and went on to have over 50-plus episodes, and is now in its prime.
Oh, I'm very proud with where the series has gone. I set out to unlock its full potential, and I'd say we're getting pretty close anyway. Pete and I are always on the same page with everything, you know? He tends to have pretty nonsensical opinions on things that he reviews, but I keep him in line pretty well, and I think we've gotten pretty close.
He's a problem child, but I love him.
The What's Up With series became one of the highlights of the channel, and with episode 54 in production, the series is at the height of its lifetime. But little do most viewers know that the show nearly stopped in its tracks, as its co-star Sliver was nearly lost forever during an incident during episode 45 in the What's Up With series, Sonic Schoolhouse.
During our review of Sonic Schoolhouse, there was an incident where the game actually came alive and tried to kill us. And for me, anyway, it was kind of a rude awakening. When you wake up every day and come to this job to the point where it becomes a second home to you, and then something happens, something completely dangerous and outlandish, it's a rude awakening and kind of a reminder of how dangerous this job can really be.
While trapped inside the laptop, Sliver destroyed the demonic disk to save the company's computer from being possessed. However, as viewers suspected by the month-long gap between Sonic Schoolhouse and the next installment in the series, Sliver was trapped inside the computer for over 34 days.
It was scary, thinking that the rest of your life might be spent in a Windows 10 machine. With how unstable that OS is, I could vanish in the next update, am I right?
Sliver spent the majority of those 34 days in a constant juggling act, trying to avoid the dangers of a PC's inner workings.
Well, at first I stayed on the desktop, but after the second night, a literal desktop apocalypse broke out, and there were a bunch of ugly, barbaric Sonics that just started massacring each other. They wanted me to take part in the rituals and stuff, but I kinda didn't want to be impaled by spikes, so I escaped to the File Explorer, which, wasn't much better.
In his ventures in the File Explorer, Sliver started writing a journal in a simple text file. He wrote poetically about life in the File Explorer as, quote, complete hogwash. Basically the equivalent to a junkyard filled with random PNG images left behind from production of videos over the last 2 years.
It was like the homes you see on that TV show Hoarders, where it's just like junk piled to the ceiling, but instead of junk, it's just images of oranges and freaky abominations and even a lifeless picture of me.
In his journal, Sliver wrote about the symbolism of the clone images of him, saying, "The lifeless PNG files reminded me of what I could become at any moment. Lifeless, being disguised as a living soul, much like Peter."
He is really monotone, so sometimes I wonder if he's dead. But anyway, after a few days, I got sick of being on the PC altogether, so I got smart and finally uploaded myself to the internet. I thought it would be a cool adventure with never-ending paths, but I kept getting blocked by firewalls and ended up just kind of floating in cyberspace for a few weeks.
During the time floating aimlessly in the internet, Peter continued to work, keeping the incident a secret as best he could.
There was some suspicion that something had happened, but on one hand, I didn't want to play it off as nothing happened. I didn't want to just pretend like everything was perfectly fine. But on the other hand, I had no idea how to get him out. So we just kind of went on with life.
Sliver's travel through cyberspace continued for some time, but for the last 2 weeks of his adventure, his journal entries stopped, and to this day he still refuses to speak on the last 14 days of his trips through the internet.
There's a lot of things I'd rather not talk about. A lot that I'm sworn not to talk about. Sometimes I'd rather forget, to be honest.
Little is known about where and what Sliver did during this time. However, several pictures have since surfaced of Sliver in the real world that were supposedly taken during this time. One shows him next to a man who claims to be a member of the hacking group Anonymous. One was taken by a pilot supposedly stationed in Area 51. And lastly, a deep web developer who claims to have spotted him in the coding of a Bitcoin exchange site, although none of these sightings have been proven. Finally, after 34 days spent in the digital world, a way to extract Sliver was finally discovered.
Oh yeah, he was just jammed in the disk tray. I went to play Tales of Adventure and I noticed he was stuck in there, so I just pulled him out and... yeah, that's it.
Now, I'm guessing the reason he didn't look there to begin with was because he was just way too distraught from mourning my death. Either that or he's just a dunce, which is entirely possible.
After his escape from this perilous digital world, Sliver returned to the show once more, and this incident was again pushed under the rug.
In a way, it's an illusion. What you see go on in the show is what we want you to see. Sometimes when things get tough, you just gotta keep it behind the scenes and give the audience what they want. It's a juggling act, but it keeps the immersion. It makes the show a place of comfort and peace. People can come and watch and always have a laugh. They don't need to be bogged down by the hows and whys that could be unpleasant or sad. Life is tough, and entertainment is an escape. It's a security of happiness when the world gives you none, and that's what we try and make this show. That's what the entire channel is. In the end, it's not an illusion. It's an effort to share happiness. It's a genuine attempt to be a place of peace and comfort to people who might be lacking it. When you take your life, the good and the bad, you get who you are. But when you share the good and leave the bad behind, it's giving the best of yourself in an attempt to help others. Everyone knows that life is hard. Everyone knows that you might struggle. But you never know when a random goofy YouTube show, or even just having an uplifting spirit in your everyday life, might be that one thing that helps someone to keep going when they're at their lowest. Never hide when you're sad, but always share when you're happy. You may even end up helping yourself when things get tough, to see that sliver lining. I messed it up.
Hey guys, thanks a ton for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of something different. I wasn't going to do a 100k special, but then this idea sort of came to my mind of doing more of a documentary type thing. Just something goofy. I don't like big like compilation videos for specials, and I don't even like doing specials in general. I very rarely do them, and part of that is because when I upload something, I just want it to be out there. I don't like having like scheduled things to come out, which is why I think I did my 90k special like 1,000 subs beforehand. But I just want to take a minute at the end of this video to just say thank you, obviously. This is a very big milestone for my channel. Believe it or not, the biggest that I've been through so far. I didn't reach 1 million and then fall back down or anything. I've worked my way up over the past 5-6 years. Only like 2 or 3 on this channel specifically. But it means a lot more than you would think it does, because this isn't just some channel that's getting popular at this point. It's actually something that can be my full-time job, and so this is actually what is supporting my life. And so the fact that it's grown this big and that you guys have supported me means absolute world to me. It literally means my life, because this is what's holding me up right now, and it's going very well, and I really can't thank you guys enough for helping me to get here. And I wanted this video to be about the What's Up With series and Cardboard Silver in general, not because of just because of a meme, but also because my channel started off, I wanted it to be what it is right now. I want it to be a gaming channel where I can just kind of post random gameplays and have my own unique style, and that people would like it. And that's where I've gotten, but it wasn't always just automatically like that. After a while, I started getting really bored of it. And mostly because I was getting like no views. I think the most views I would get on a video when I first started was maybe like 20 or 30. And I started making YTPs, and that's what caused my channel to take off. And by the time that people actually started watching my gameplay videos, it was only because they watched my YTPs and they were already subscribed. I think it was like 2,000 subscribers by the time I started doing gameplay videos again. And when I did start doing them again, they really didn't get that many views anyway, but so I would do these gameplay videos for a while, and they started to gain a little bit of momentum. My channel started to be a little more gaming based, but it wasn't until I did my first What's Up With video that things actually really took off for a video that wasn't a YTP, and that was What's Up With Sonic and the Black Knight. It was Sonic and the Black Knight was the first one, and it was a very different format. It was supposed to start out as more of a comedy, like a stand-up comedy kind of thing. More like a reaction, just kind of making fun of the game, making a lot of pretty corny jokes. And that's why I called it the What's Up With series, because that's like a common thing, right? Stand-up comedians start out with like, hey, what's up with airplane food? Common. Maybe that's not a common thing, and I just had it in my mind, but either way, I like the format. I like how it worked out, and that's how the series went. It started to be more of my passion project. I started to not have to rely on YTPs so much for views, although I still enjoy making them, and I still do, to be honest. I still find them pretty funny. Maybe not the old ones I made, but good ones, actually, yes. But finally, the gaming videos that I set out to make started gaining momentum, and that's how this series, and especially Cardboard Silver, because once he came into the series, it had its own uniqueness to it, and it started to take off a lot more, and that's when my channel really started, or when it felt for me like it really started. And so I just want to make this video to kind of pay homage to that, and what a big step it was in getting me to this point of 100K. And of course I want to give a massive thanks to Nick and John, because they've been on my channel since way back when, and they're always Nick's always willing to be in videos, even when I make him play crappy games, and same with John. I made him play Sonic and the Secret Rings. We both hated it, but it was fun. So they've been big helps on my channel, huge personalities. John's been so supportive of me since the very beginning. I can think, as far back as I can think of, that I was making videos. He's been watching every single one, and he's always been someone who's supported that more than a lot of people have. So I really, a huge shout out to him. It's for you, boy. And other than that, that's it. I don't want to drag this out too long, because I don't want the video to be about me ranting. I wanted it to be the beginning thing, but I thought I should add this to the end to make it a little more personal, because it is a big milestone, and I can't just make some random nilly-dilly video. So, yeah, just a huge thanks for helping me to get here. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and the best is yet to come. Thanks a ton for watching, and as always, have yourself a wonderful day.